911. It's a number dialed over 240 million times each year. In all cases, these calls are answered by trained professionals, and many are certified NINA ENPs. Let's talk to one of these professionals, unedited and completely off the cuff.
Are you positive he's breathing?
No.
Okay, and he's blue?
Yeah.
Okay, then there's a good chance he's not breathing. Is there somebody else there that can do CPR?
Oh my God.
911, what's your emergency?
NINA, the National Emergency Number Association, and the NANCI-approved Standards Development Organization, has created the Emergency Number Professional Accreditation, specifically for public safety professionals. ENP certification establishes the benchmark for performance, signifying a broad-based competence in the public safety field. Successful certification completion demonstrates an individual's mastery of the knowledge base requirements for an emergency management position. So join me as we talk to yet another new ENP, unedited and completely off the cuff. Hey, it's Fletch. Welcome to another episode of Off the Cuff True Confessions of an ENP. Today we are blessed with the presence of Tonya Beasley, ENP, who's in Madison County, Illinois, who's a 911 training administrator. Congratulations on your brand new ENP certification and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Mark. I'm very excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here.
Yeah,
I've heard all about you. There is stuff all over the internet about you.
Oh no, I've heard about you. I've done stalked your page and everything. We know
but that stuff's not true. That's just people who don't like me are just writing stuff.
We can flip the script. Let me do an interview on you.
Oh God, no, that won't be happening.
They would love that. You know they would. Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, but not the right people would love that. Oh, we finally got them now.
The FBI's looking for you.
Yeah, well, they know where to find me. Trust me. So tell me about Madison County, Illinois, and your history over there.
Oh boy. Madison County, Illinois is in southern Illinois. So We're not up by the 51st state, which would be Chicago. We are south of I-70 and, 70 goes through the center of the U.S. Actually, I'm right across the river from St. Louis. So 10, 15 minutes, you can see the arch. It's right in my backyard.
Nice.
However, being that close to metropolis, we have a good population, good call volume, and a good fair amount of crime.
What's your call volume annually?
I believe it was, hold on, I took notes on that. We have 113 calls.
113 calls?
113 total call. I'm sorry, 124,000 in 2023.
So if you only took
afterwards.
You only took 113 calls, boy. So,
Consolidating. Hello, we're all consolidating.
I take more calls than that in my office during the day,
Oh, I bet you do.
Yeah.
Well, I was texting you last week, so I know that was pretty busy.
So what got you into 911? What's the path that got you here today to bring you into my computer screen?
Poverty. I was poor. I was a summer kid who really didn't have any direction in high school and wasn't really going to graduate. And I was watching a 3-year-old and a police officer's kid, and DJ really kind of bonded with me, and the officer's like, "What are you doing with your life?" And I just didn't have any idea where I was going and what I was doing. Nobody asked me back then if I was going to college. Since then, I do have a degree. But I got sick and I had to pay for insurance. When you're 18, you're off public aid, and that cost a lot of money. So I was bound and determined to make a good living, find good benefits, and support myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, look at you.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta be determined. You gotta dream big. And so I started in city politics and had no idea what a mayor was or a city council or any of those things. But just kind of like 911, I wanted to learn. I wanted to absorb it all. And about a year or two into it, there was a job opening at the police department as a 911 dispatcher. And I thought, well, that's where the cool kids get to go, is they get to go work at the PD. So I'm going to apply. And, luckily I am not shy and have no fear of talking. So key up the mic.
Go figure. Go figure.
Yeah.
I would have never known that about you, by the way. Yeah. No, that's great. Do you remember how long was your training period?
Maybe 6 weeks, maybe. But the 911 calls weren't flowing in like they are now. I mean, you saw that red line. I don't even know what that was. I just remember they called it a red line back in the day. Does any of that sound familiar? I don't know what kind of call handling equipment it was.
So back in my day, it was in the 80s. We didn't even have 911 back then.
Was it a tin can? It must have been like, hello.
Just about.
Just
I had a 10-line phone, man. I had one button that was red. It's like, if that rings, it's the fire phone. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, whatever.
No, it didn't. Yeah, it just kind of lit up, and you knew when they all lit up, something bad happened, kind of like today. That's not far off from that beaten path. But yeah, I remember sitting in dispatch, and an officer, she was on light duty. So she was taking 911 calls, and a week on, and she gets a call of shots fired. Now, ended up being kids with a paint gun driving down the road, shooting at people. But I was like, what the hell did I get myself into? Can I do this? Can I really do this? But I think the training is what really kind of enforces your belief in yourself. It's like, you don't just go in there doing it. Let's train you. Let's train you the right way. It's kind of no different than going out to the shooting range. We're going to train you the right way the first time. So let's ease into this. So and that's kind of my motto with it.
Now you're doing training.
I do training. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you actually teach, or do you just administer the program? Or tell me a little bit about a CTA.
I did for about 20 years. I did the call handling equipment, which was Sentinel at the time when I started. And then now it's Vesta, Motorola Vesta. So I know exactly how to use the call handling equipment, like, the back of my hand. So when you're using it, it's a little bit easier. But nowadays I got people that are underneath of me that are using it much better than I am. And I appreciate them much more doing it. But so doing it and teaching it, I think it kind of is more impactful. Plus, I teach in the county that I worked in. So I'm like, hey, my name's Tonya. I work at Granite. If you need me, give me a call. We all had that one person or two that, mine was at state police. I'd give her a call like, I don't know how to enter this boat. What am I supposed to do? So that's kind of what I was hoping I could do for everybody throughout the years. At least I tried.
So you kind of built your own mentorship program. You identified the need for that right away.
Yeah. We're a really close group in Madison County. There's we went from 16 PSAPs to 8, and we're down to 8 now. But a lot of we know our people firsthand. Our dispatchers, we all went to school together, or our kids go to daycare together, or we really make it an effort to have a mental health day where we try to get out once every couple of months, and all the 911 professionals in Madison County try to find a weekday to go and say our woes and have some camaraderie, because we all know we all do a tough job and we appreciate each other out there. And when you got one or two people working in a PSAP, those calls roll to the next one, and we take care of each other.
What made you go out and get your ENP? What was the deciding factor? What day did you wake up and say, okay, Tonya, you're going to go do this. You need this.
I think it was we had spoke earlier. I had when I came to the county, I started listening to a lot of podcasts and a lot of videos about the 911 profession, trying to learn the technology part of it, because that's where I struggled. So that's where I was focusing a lot of my time. But there's really not a whole lot of information out there about the 911 industry. And so I was listening to some about a few years ago, Patricia Smith, I believe she is the chief of police in DC. And I think she was encouraging ENP and just trying to learn, why do these people have this after their name, and how are they, you know, a part of this culture, and what do I have to do to get that? And challenge. I like challenge. I like somebody to not be sure that I could do something, you know, just like going to the police department. I was not even 20 going to the PD, and like, are you sure you can do that? It's very military. And are you sure you can handle that? You know, and kind of the same thing with, you know, going to the county or working for the state. I worked for the state for a few years. Yeah, it's a challenge. I just
and that was
learn.
probably tough back in the 1900s, you know.
He did it. He went there.
No, but I mean, you know, the culture was very different.
Oh, it was. Oh, yeah. Oh,
You
I
know,
think
it
I was.
was.
Like
It was.
one of
I mean, I
maybe
hate to say
3
it,
or
but
4 women.
it was tough being a girl in
Yeah.
public safety back then.
Really, yeah, it really was. But there were some really, really great guys out there that really gave me some good direction. Officer Chosich, man, I haven't said that name in years, but I remember I just kept, you know, those days when you go into work and you're sending somebody the wrong location, the wrong call, the wrong plate, the wrong return. I mean, it just snowballed and nothing I could do. So I went out to the Sally Port, just trying to get a breath of fresh air. And I remember him coming out there, and he was really a quiet man that didn't have a lot to say, but he came out there and he looked at me and he was like, he knew I was having a bad day. And he just looked at me and he told me, he goes, "He who is perfect cast the first stone." And it was like, that's right. Nobody's perfect. We all have bad days. Get back in there. And it was just what I needed. So, yeah. And you're going to have bad days.
I think that's why public safety are such great practical jokers and breaking the mood during the shift, because they have to. You have to break that barrier.
It is a barrier, whether you put that wall up or whether it's you're, you know, trying to save yourself from the mental anguish of things. You got to crack a joke, or you gotta do something to lighten the mood. You're absolutely right. I agree. I couldn't agree with you more.
You know, and sometimes, you know, sometimes the problem is sometimes the jokes go too far because you get in that comfortable space and somebody ultimately oversteps their boundaries, and then it all blows up. And there's no malintention behind any of that. Right?
Well, then you're not coming to my Thanksgiving dinner. I'm just going to have to take my invite back, because that could be a show. See, look at me just say show.
Yeah, you almost said show. Yeah.
Oh boy. Yes. I almost said, and it is a show, but you know, all in good fun.
Yes, it is all in good fun. But no, that's interesting. So what did you find hardest about the EMP test altogether? Where'd you have the most difficulty?
Testing is really hard for me. I can sit here and do this with you all day long. But if I have to sit there and read a question, we don't want to do that. No, I mean, you're cutting me off. You're pulling the plug in 45 minutes? That's it, right? Less than. The clock's ticking.
Hey, thanks a lot. Appreciate you joining us today.
Bye. It's the test itself. I'll psych myself out over a test versus trying to go meet and greet somebody in person and just kind of show who I am that way. Because I do have knowledge in this industry. I love this industry. But trying to formulate and comprehend a question sometimes. And these are not easy questions. There's nothing easy. I want to know the psychology behind it, because, it's the one question, just be patient and take your time, go to the next question. Give yourself grace. That's what you have to do. You have to give yourself grace. It's funny how we're kind and nice to everybody else, but not so much to ourselves.
I did spend 12 years on the Nina Institute board before I got on the national board as the Northeast director. And I still am the liaison to the Nina Institute board from the executive board. So I'm still very involved with the testing and the creation of the exams every year. And I can tell you that there is so much. You would be impressed the amount of work that actually goes into building those two 150 question exams each year and making sure they are absolutely spot on from a question, from a distractor answer, and from a correct answer perspective.
Okay, listen, folks, he's just broke the silence to us and told us that each question might lead to the next question, to the next answer, to the next one. There has to be psychology behind it. There does. There really was, because I got really great advice from Tiki from McHenry County here in Illinois. And she was just like, take your time, the answer, be patient, you'll be fine. And it's just, you just got to kind of like tell yourself that through the process. It's a process and it's a challenging one. And we're all built to take on really good challenges and see them through. And this was one of them. This was not an armed robbery, but, kind of close.
The test itself and the format of the test is part of the test.
It is. Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely, for sure.
There's one absolutely correct answer, and there are three very, very good, well-crafted, maniacal distractors.
And see, I went and changed answers, which is totally against everything I've ever been told in education. Go with your gut, go with your first. And it was like, wait a minute, I got down to question 72 and it's giving me the answer to number 15.
Yep.
And so there's your confessions of an ENP. I can't explain it any better than that.
Things jog your memory. Things jog your memory.
Yeah.
You know what? But again, and if you look back at the question, it's the way the question is worded. It's what the question is specifically asking, not what you think it's asking. And that's all part about being observant, understanding, and analytics.
You got to study for it. I mean, you have read this material. You have studied this material. It might have been 6 months ago. It might have been, but you know this. It's just finding it where it's stored at in that file bank in your brain. And Look,
it's all logical stuff. At the end of the day, it's all, if you went through the test and someone gave you the correct answers, you would say, oh yeah, I see that. I understand that.
Well, I don't want it to be easy either, because the whole idea is this is the bar exam for 911.
Thank you.
This is the bar. I want that bar to be high. Otherwise, there's pride in this. I've worked my butt off for this, and it shouldn't be given to everybody. Not at all.
Yeah, when you're getting wheeled into the operating room, you want to see a certificate on the wall from some place that's credible, not like, woohoo, I was wasted.
Acme.
I still passed. Oh, okay.
I know. That's the idea. I'm not a half-ass kind of person. That's my biggest pet peeve. You could dial, phone a friend, phone my son, and he'll tell you that's my number one. If you're going to do it, I don't care if you're sweeping the floors or washing dishes, don't do it half-ass, or just don't do it.
That's my father told me, these are great words. He says, never do a job you're embarrassed to put your name on.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it will follow you. It 100% will follow you. Even if it's decades down the line, they're going to be like, did they really, really want to, or were they just trying to get by until 1,900 hours to get out of there? Yeah. No, I agree.
So what do you think about staffing and the way the industry is going. Staffing is probably got to be a problem by you as it is everywhere.
Yeah. Retaining. It's getting the applicants doesn't seem as hard as retaining. Retention is really, really difficult. But
Okay.
I'm at the age where I don't know everything. I know that's a shocker, but I have to go and ask.
What's that, 30,
21-year-olds.
32? That age?
Right. Yeah.
See what I did?
Yeah.
See what I
Plus 15 or something. Yeah. I got to go ask and say, what's the deal? My son graduated from a university a couple of years ago, and he just doesn't want to live and die in his job. It's not the same perception anymore like it was. I was living and dying to take care of my family, just to support myself. And it's just a whole different outlook. It's not a wrong one. There's no right one or wrong one. It's just a different one. And we have to open our eyes and be acceptable of that and pivot. It's what life is like. That's what it's about. You got to pivot a little bit different sometimes. And
yeah, the definition of career kind of changed, I think, between our generation and today's generation.
Mm-hmm. That whole 9 to 5, or, well, it was 12 hours for us, but, that stay in your seat and you got to call and ask permission to go pee. Those days are not acceptable, not with the generation we need to come in to fill our shoes and be the best that they can be. It's a whole different outlook. That's my thought.
So how do if you're doing training, you're bringing in new people, you're bringing in young, you're bringing in older, I imagine. How are they working together in a center side by side? What do you see as any issues there? Are we okay? Do we need to adjust anything from an industry perspective?
I think the old need to quit killing off the young and be a little bit more liberal and listen. It's hard to listen in a conversation. It's incredibly hard. It's incredibly hard to listen.
Totally.
You got it. Yep, through the softball, didn't I? Dadgummit. Yeah.
You're out.
All right. I was just listening to one of your podcasts the other day where the guy said, what did he get? 3 walks and he considered it a triple or something like that.
Yeah, he got 3 walks.
That was awesome. I'm like, I love baseball. Go Birds. Cards. Yeah.
He was from Alabama.
Alabama. Yes.
Birmingham.
Yeah.
Great. One of the most classic podcasts I ever recorded.
Easy to listen to. He was just so smooth. He was like,
that Southern dude. We spent 20 minutes before we recorded talking about good Southern whiskey and moonshine.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. But you got to be real. I mean, if that's kind of where the disconnect can be. If I'm going in there acting like somebody I'm not, then I'm not going to sell it. I'm not going to be able to be that person's confidant to come and call me and talk to me and say they need this or that. It's just not going to happen. So if I got to drop the F-bomb or if I've got to, suck it up, you got to be real. You got to be real with these people. And if you can't sit in that room and not take a cuss word and wow.
I mean, you know what? Look, I mean, you have to be sensitive to people and not purposely offend somebody. But I think the flip side of that coin is you can't be so hypersensitive in such an environment to where just by being there, you're being disruptive.
Yeah. Well, remove the judgment. That's kind of what you have to do is remove the judgment,
Both sides. Both
right.
sides.
Everybody's got some struggle of one kind or another in their life, no matter who you are, no matter how big or small it might be. Everybody has a struggle.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I do these podcasts for Nina, so I got to keep them fairly
low key,
child friendly,
PG.
But I mean, if I know a few friend of mine's friends of mine do just regular podcasts. They're not tied with any industry things or an agency, and it's just F this and F that and screw this. And I'm like, oh man, I'd love to have a great, easy conversation, because that's how you talk when you're over in the corner. But
we're not dealing with the same old, we're talking about ENP, and we're not talking about the frequent flyer that keeps calling me and telling me that they need to get somebody over here right away. Yeah. No.
I had a woman, it's funny because even though I dispatched way back from 80 to 85, yeah, almost not much after that. But, I had a woman call me every Friday night, 10 o'clock, like freaking clockwork, telling me that aliens were spying on her through the light switch in her bedroom.
I kind of miss it. I'm not going to lie. I mean, those were, they were your constant shitheads, or your, you just.
And if we weren't busy, a guy would go over and he'd scan the wall with his portable. Like, no, okay, this will get rid of him for about a week.
Oh no! Or you get the good guys that'll get out there with their, aluminum foil tin hat walking up to the door. I mean, those are the pranks. Those are the fun things that we did. Go back over to Jody over on West Pontoon. She's got aluminum foil up.
I always tell everybody. I said, look, if the internet existed back in the day, I would still probably be in jail.
We would have our criminal history.
Oh my God. We used to, the metal real estate signs that people stick in their front yard.
Yeah.
We'd want to get back at somebody. We'd run around town and collect every single one that we possibly could find and put like 50 of them in somebody's front yard at their house,
Real estate signs. Now that's a good one. That's a good one. I think he was a lieutenant at the time, early on, was telling me less than 6 months on the desk. Granite, turn the landing pad lights on. Turn the landing pad lights on. It's coming. And I'm like, oh my God. I literally was like, where the is the landing pad lights? I'm like, had no idea. Oh, I knew I still probably, Jeff knows that was him. However, I sent a cab to his house trying to pick him up numerous times with the cab.
See, it's funny. I was just thinking about this the other day. Back then, stuff that was sold on TV, people didn't call in with credit cards. It was
COD.
You mailed a check or did COD. Oh, there was more crap we had showing up at people's house with UPS looking for a check.
See, man, we would have been dangerous together sitting in dispatch. No.
I can't tell you how many Flobies we sent to bald guys. Now people are going to be looking up what the hell is a
What the is a Flobie? That's going to be the bumper sticker now.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that was great. I know all of our generation's going to be just dying listening to that, because I can see the bzzz.
Yeah. Gee, boomers are funny once in a while.
They just need to be medicated. That's all.
Yeah, they just need to be medicated. That's all. So what advice do you have for new people that are going to take on this task of getting their ENP?
I think Nina's doing it right. I think it's opening it up to everybody that wants a shot. It really it enforces their power, their will to want to achieve more and be the best. Who doesn't want to be the best? Who doesn't want to get a ribbon at the end of the day? Who doesn't want to get an attaboy? And to be able to give them this pathway of learning and the opportunity for growth, take it, take the chance, take the leap. What can hurt? Go pee. Go pee before you go in there. I know you're tired and you're questioning every acronym there is known to. I don't think there's any other industry that has as many acronyms. Is there?
No, I don't
Really?
think so. But
I do not.
I did not hear what you said at first, and you repeated it, and I'm like, she did just say go pee before
Go
you go.
pee. Go pee. I had to
No
pee.
one has ever
I had to
given
pee
you
like
that advice.
halfway through. Well, I mean, study your technology, folks. No, yeah. Go pee. You forget to go pee. The simple, basic things, I don't know. Don't drink that extra cup of coffee. Like I need any more coffee. It's 2:00 in the afternoon. No more coffee.
Jeez. We did have we actually did have an issue that we had to deal with because someone was a diabetic and their glucose monitor, you can't bring electronics in the room with you. And they needed, they had that with them. So they ended up accommodating them because it's medical, but it's like,
Yeah.
oh, geez, we gotta
I
write
mean,
more.
those guys are legit. The proctor exam, don't mess around. No, they were great folks. That was the best thing I had to say about that after the test was done. And, comments, questions, concern. I'm like, these guys know what they're doing and I appreciate them. I mean, kind and courteous, but there's protocol.
Yep.
You know what? We're used to protocol and we appreciate a good protocol. So,
yeah. Well, it's Professional Testing Corporation is the firm that, administers that exam for us with their testing centers. And, they've got their rules. And I'll tell you what, kudos to them because they came up with accommodations during COVID that allowed the remote testing. Now, granted, you needed multiple cameras. You had to go under your desk in the garbage. You had to cover up anything that was a monitor or a window. I mean, you had to go through a lot. But they came up with a protocol that accommodated remote testing. And, there might have been a little bit of a drop off in the number of people, but it wasn't huge.
That's what I was going to ask. Did it see a significant hit with
Little bit?
Little bit. Yeah. I mean, I guess we could have done that, but St. Louis right across the river. So it didn't take us anything to get to. And so it's nice to have a company that has a lot of options in big cities.
Well, they do all the pilots. They do doctors, nurses. They do a lot of different stuff that needs proctored exams that are certifiable. And they even help us with the questions and the tests to make sure we've got categorization. And we're just the NIB is just going through a whole review. They do that every 5 to 7 years. And they're looking at that and they're actually going to, embark on a job analysis to make sure we're asking the right questions as the industry has evolved.
I knew there was a science. So there's a science to it.
So we can go through and say, look, this is an accredited test. And
can I rat on myself right now?
Go ahead.
So I know you
pull
have
your certificate, but go ahead.
No, I'm going to have to do it. Well, it just shows that we all have our moments, and there are 2 headsets in the exam little cubicle that you're in. Well, pick up the one that's the sound muffling ones and not the ones that go to the keyboard. Because I picked up the ones that go to the keyboard, which didn't discrete any of the sounds around me. It was, I could hear everybody or everything going on. And somebody was doing some really tough exam where she was just typing like crazy. And I looked down at the very end of the test. I'm like, oh, did I really just pick up the wrong headset? Because I'm sure somebody's got a headset where they have to listen to something and just do, keying in doctor scripts or whatever it is. And I was like, there was my blonde moment. Yes, I did it. So yeah, pee and pick up the right headset to put on so you can focus. But then, don't you laugh. It's not another softball coming at you, but it happens. I mean, if we can't laugh at ourselves, come on now.
I'm sorry. I just, in all the years I've been doing this, I've never had anybody even come close to that advice.
I know. Now they're
flashcards.
I'm going to get a
work groups. I mean, all the normal.
We're going to have to
stuff.
retest you, Tonya. We're not quite sure. You do
So
it.
obviously we need to add some more psychology
Oh.
questions into this.
Oh, I used just about every bit of 3 hours. I was 4 minutes shy of the clock. 4 minutes. It was like that red flashing coming at me because I
Wow.
had to pee. So I should have peed. That would gave me another 10 minutes. But yeah, use it. That time's there for you to read the question and read the question and I don't know. It was
I gotta
tough, but worth it.
hang out with you. What conferences are you going to? We're gonna have a good time.
Oh, I just went to IPSA in October, Illinois Public Safety Telecommunicators. So, and I did my first, as the training administrator, did my first nomination for Illinois Nina Apco, and with the help of her lieutenant, we were able to get a winner.
Oh wow!
Andre Lindauer, she is the 2024 Supervisor of the Year. And,
Congratulations.
it takes a team. None of us do any of this by ourselves, whether it's your patrol guy, it's your partner sitting, answering the calls with you there, it's your office that runs the team, or it's the whole county. We all really kind of backed her up, and we went and got a good award for her. Well deserved. She definitely.
Are you going to standards and best practices or national?
I've done a lot of research of what it is that I want to do next. I'd love to go to Nina next year, but there's got to get that approval from the board, and by getting this, I'm listening. Ears open.
You should really consider standards and best practices, which is in Clearwater in January. That's going to give you insight into the technology and the industry and where the industry is going and what work groups you can start getting involved in so that your voice can be heard.
I'm going to write my little note here, standards and best practices. I was just doing this Thursday last week, going through like the CCMP and the CMP and the RPA. I mean, again, there's your acronyms. Go look them up because you're going to need to know. But it was, so the standards and best practices that's where I'm challenging myself and trying to learn is the more the technology, and it's just going to get crazier. I know it is.
Yeah, it's the standards and the best practices. So these are work groups that are going to be there that are working on them. They're going to report on that. They're going to be looking for input on what they've done. They're going to be looking for new members to recruit into the groups. Anybody can join. You don't even have to be a member of NINA to be on one of the work groups. But you can see what the groups are doing. You can see the work product they're putting out there. You can see the value that you could add to individual efforts. And at the end of the day, that standard gets published. Your name is on it.
I'm excited. Can I have a patent? Could I get one of those one day?
You may be able to get a patent. Yeah.
Will you give me one of yours? No, I didn't, but no, by talking to you, this is what you do. You learn something new each and every time. Whether I'm watching a video of, Tracy's videos where it had the whole like machines and who'd have thought? Who'd have thought that's how those things started?
I love her to death, but she drives me crazy because she's trying to explain a complex process. And I'm a very technical, mechanical type person, and she'll come up with these corollary explanations. I'm like,
the best.
That makes no sense at all. But I can see why people understand what you're saying now.
So another bit of advice was her on scene first. I watched those videos. I tried in the beginning. I was part of like the first 6 or 7 live ones, but like I said, life happens, and I went through some private stuff and got back on the bandwagon and watched her recordings. But that's how I learn. I don't have the technical mind. I get exactly the way she, where you're running the race and she's got the little man going across the screen, or just all of those, apply some type of, riddle to it. to be able to understand it.
See, I can, I'm a technical person. I can teach you technical things, but Tracy was a call taker that learned technical stuff, and she was challenged with it like everybody else. And she's like, this is how I learned and how I got through it.
That's how I learned.
That's
you're the oddball, just so you know.
Yeah, I know.
I will let her know that too. You're the oddball because
I will let people testify to that.
No, but and you have to understand there are different types of learning, whether someone likes to read a book or somebody likes to do hands-on. I totally can appreciate that. But I don't know if I would have passed without her training, without her videos, without her just taking the time. And that took a lot of time for her to build that.
Yeah, she puts her heart into it.
Absolutely. So I see the passion, and that's kind of why I did the NP. I'm trying to find mine. It's out there. I'm going down that road. So
cool.
Here she comes.
No, fantastic. Well, listen, thanks so much for sitting down with me. This has really, really been informational and exciting and really inspiring.
Do you think so?
Did that sound like it was real?
Did you?
Because I practiced.
Are you reading a script right in front of you? You are, aren't you, little shit?
Tonya Beasley, thank you very much for joining us today. We really enjoyed it.
I hope you did enjoy my very.
No, I
this
did.
was not what I expected on
of course it
doing
isn't.
this and preparing for it, but it's real. It's who I am, and it's yeah.
No, I'm glad we had a misfire.
I'm not just a dispatcher.
I'm glad we had a misfire this morning. That was all your fault.
You broke it, didn't you? You broke it.
It was all your fault.
And I was so ready to go. Now I need a nap because I've been up since 5 a.m. because you don't know the time zones for me. And here it is. It's like 8 o'clock at night and I need to go to bed. No, it's been great. And really, it has been a dream. I was so excited when I was in Florida and I read your email and you invited me on the podcast. And so 3 years ago, like I said, it seems surreal that you work hard at something. It's not impossible. And, I'm ready for the next door. And with your help, right now I got there.
You got it. Well, I'm looking forward to catching up with you at a conference somewhere. We'll probably, we'll probably end up with handcuffs or something, but.
I know. Don't put us in the same room together. God forbid.
But it'll be fun.
No whiskey, no alcohol.
Yeah,
it doesn't take anything like that for me just to.
We'll laugh about it.
But, Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, you have a great day, and thanks for what you do, and thanks for what you've done for all these years. It's people
and
like
if I can say, if anybody does need any kind of help with theirs, I'm here. So Madison County, Illinois, 911 training coordinator. Give me a call. Give me a buzz.
1-800 call Tonya.
Oh Lord, or Floby. It'll fix everything.
There you go.
That's how you wrap it up.
All right, I'll see you later.
Thanks,
Have
Fletch.
a great day. All right,
bye everyone.
Bye-bye.
Well, that wraps up this episode of Off the Cuff, Confessions of an ENP. I'm Mark Fletcher, ENP, and I'm the Vice President of Public Safety Solutions at 911 Inform. Off the Cuff is sponsored by 911 Inform, delivering next-generation 911 solutions to the enterprise today and making every second count. Visit them on the web at 911inform.com. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at Fletch911. Check out all my blogs and podcasts at Fletch.tv. And be sure to like and subscribe below. That way you'll be immediately notified whenever a new podcast is published. Thanks so much for listening. If you're in public safety, thanks for what you do. Take care and have a great day.